I can't believe it's been 20 years since this underrated cult classic gem ever got released. As I continue a mostly week of anniversary reviews, here's my review of one of the most underrated films of 2004, Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Dual Bear, known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 2004 sci-fi action adventure flick, Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow, often shortened to Sky Captain, released by Paramount and directed by Cary Conran in his directorial debut. Produced by John Avnet, Sadie Frost, Marsha Oglesby, and Jude Law, who plays the titular character, along with Gwyneth Paltrow and Angelina Jolie. It's an example of Autensian. Autensian, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this wrong. Anyway, that's pre WWII diesel punk. The film was released on this very day, September 17th, 2004. Henceforth, today is the 20th anniversary of this film. Anyway, this film is really underrated, and it took a long time to do this film. While it got good reviews, it unfortunately underperformed at the box office, but became a cult classic, though. Now, might as well just give you the whole story anyway, but here we go. In a technologically advanced 1939, the Zeppelin Hindenburg III moors itself atop the Empire State Building. Aboard the airship is Dr. Jorge Vargas, a scientist who arranges for a package containing two vials to be delivered to Dr. Walter Jennings. Afterwards, Dr. Vargas vanishes. Polly Perkins, a reporter for the Chronicle, is looking into the disappearances of Vargas and five other renowned scientists. A cryptic message leads her to Radio City Music Hall against the warnings of her editor, Mr. Paley, where she meets Dr. Jennings during a showing of The Wizard of Oz. Hmm. He tells her that Dr. Tuttenkopf is coming for him next. Suddenly, mysterious giant robots attack the city. The authorities call for Sky Captain Joe Sullivan, the city's hero, Perkins' former lover, and the commander of the private air force, the Flying Legion. While Joe engages the robots with his modified Curtiss P-40 pursuit fighter, Perkins photographs from the street with little regard for her safety. He disables one robot, the rest leave. News reports show similar attacks around the globe. The disabled robot is taken back to the Legion's airbase so a technology expert, Dex, can examine it. Polly falls and persuades Joe to reluctantly let her in on the investigation. She discovers Dr. Tollenkopf was a former child prodigy and Germany's most brilliant scientist who ran a mysterious lab outside of Berlin, where he and the missing scientist were working on a project dubbed the World of Tomorrow. Her information takes them to the ransacked laboratory of a dying Dr. Jennings. While an assassin escapes just before he dies, Jennings gives Polly the two vials and states that they are crucial to Tullenkopf's plans. Polly hides the vials and withholds the information from Joe. They return to the Legion's base just before it comes under attack from squadrons of ornithopter drones. Dex tracks the origin of the signal controlling the drones and notes it on a map before his capture. Joe and Polly find Dex's map and fly to Nepal and then to Tibet, where they meet Joe's old friend Kaji. He helps them locate an abandoned mining outpost in the Himalayas. Two guides working for Tuggencup force Polly to turn over the vials, locking the duo in a room full of dynamite. Joe and Polly escape just before the room explodes, knocking them unconscious and destroying most of Polly's film. They wake up together in the mythical Shangri-La. The Tibetan-speaking monks there tell of Tollenkopf's enslavement of their people, forcing them to work in the uranium mines. Most were killed by the radiation, But the final survivor provides a clue to where Dr. Tonkov is hiding. With insufficient fuel to make it there, they run into a Royal Navy flying aircraft carrier commanded by another one of Joe's former flames, Commander Frankie Cook. Frankie leads the attack on Tullenkopf's island lair while Joe and Polly enter through an underwater inlet. Joe and Polly find themselves on an island with dinosaur like creatures, which Polly hesitates to photograph as she has only 2 shots left. They find a secret subterranean facility in a mountain where robots are loading animals as well as the mysterious files onto a large Noah's Ark rocket. Joe and Polly are detected by Dex. Piloting a flying barge arrives with 3 of the missing scientists. They explain that Totenkopf has given up on humanity and seeks to start the world over again. The world of tomorrow. The vials are genetic material from humanity's greatest individuals, which will produce the perfect Adam and Eve. If the rocket reaches space, the afterburners will ignite the atmosphere and kill everything on Earth before the rocket repopulates the planet in Totenkopf's image. Now, I'm going to get to the ending, so you better stop this video immediately. You have 5 seconds to stop this video. As I count down now, if you've seen this movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. As the group attempts to enter Dr. Totenkopf's lair, one scientist is electrocuted by the defense system. A hologram Totenkopf appears, speaking of his hate for humanity and his plans to rebuild it as a new master race. Dex disables the lair's defenses, and the group discovers Totenkopf's mummified corpse inside with a scrap of paper clutched in his hand. Forgive me. He died 20 years previously, but his machines have continued with his plan. Joe decides to sabotage the rocket from the inside while the others escape. Polly tries to tag along, but Joe kisses her and then knocks her out. Polly recovers following Joe and saving him from Dr. Jennings' assassin, a female android. Joe and Polly then board the rocket before the rocket reaches 100 kilometers when its second stage is scheduled to fire and thereby incinerate the Earth. Polly pushes an emergency button that ejects all the animals and escape pods. Joe tries to disable the rocket, only to be interrupted by the same assassin robot. He jolts the robot with its electric weapon and then uses it on the controls, disabling the rocket. Joe and Polly use the last pod to save themselves as the rocket explodes. Joe and Polly watch the animal pod splash down around their escape pod, while Commander Cook leads a group of flying aircraft carriers towards them. Polly then uses the last shot of her camera to take a picture of Joe rather than the animal pods. And Joe notes that she had forgotten to take the lens cap off in the story. So, what did I think of Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow? Well, now, I had this on physical media one time, but I lost interest in it. But I still had some respect for the film, though. I really liked the film when I first saw it. It was not too bad. I do consider this to be a pretty underrated film, though, nonetheless. You see, when it was in works, director Conrad spent 4 years making a black and white teaser using a blue screen set up in his living room and a Macintosh 2CI. He was able to show it to producer Avnet, who was so impressed that Avnet spent 2 years working with him on his screenplay. No major studio was interested, but Avnet convinced Aurelio De Laurentiis, who of course is kin to Daniel De Laurentiis, to finance Sky Captain without a distribution deal. A worldwide distribution deal would later happen with Paramount. Almost 100 digital artists, modelers, animators, and compositors created the multi-layered 2D and 3D backgrounds for the live-action footage, while the entire film was sketched out via hand-drawn storyboards and then recreated as CGI animatics. 10 months prior to shooting the live-action scenes, Cameron first shot them with stand-ins in LA that converted that footage to animatics so the actors could accurately envision the film. While upon its release, it did get some positive reviews, particularly for the style of filming that was used, but some criticism was directed at the plot and characterization. The film unfortunately underperformed at the box office. It failed to only bring in 58 million on its $70 million budget. Nevertheless, the film has since gained a following and is regarded as a cult classic. Now, it was one of the first major films, along with Cass Hearn and Immoral, both released the same year, and Sin City released the following year, to be shot entirely on a digital backlot, blending actors with CG surroundings. The film sits at 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, saying the film is slim on plot and characterization, but the visuals more than make up for it. Well, I do factually agree. The story does have a little bit of issues, but the characterization was not too bad. But the visuals was superb, very superb indeed. Metacritic has it as a score of 64, and Cinema Score gave it a grade of B minus. Now, Roger Ebert was among those who strongly supported the film, giving it 4 out of a possible 4 stars and praising it for its heedless energy and joy. It reminded him of how he felt the first time he saw Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's like a film that escaped from the imagination directly onto the screen without having to pass through reality along the way. Yes, the film is also one of few to be awarded 5 out of 5 stars by IGN Film Force. Now, J.R. Jones for the Chicago Reader wrote, this debut feature of Kerry Conran is a triumph not only for its technical mastery, but for its good taste. Entertainment Weekly gave the film an A-, saying, the investment is optimistic and wise. Sky Captain is a gorgeous, funny, and welcome novelty. Now, other critics' enthusiasm was somewhat tempered. For instance, Stephen Holden of the New York Times lauded its visuals and its evocation of a bygone era, but said that the monochromatic variations on sepia keep the actors and their adventures at a refined aesthetic distance. At times, the film is hard to see, and as the action accelerates, the wonder of its visual concept starts giving way to sci-fi cliches. USA Today said the film was all style over substance, a clever parlor trick, but a dull movie. The Washington Post called it a $70 million novelty item. Well, that's just their opinion, but I kind of like Sky Captain the World Tomorrow. Now, as a matter of fact, the robots in these films actually kind of remind me of the robots in the classic Superman cartoon, The Mechanical Monsters, which, of course, Paramount originally released through Max Fleischer's cartoon studio. Which, of course, everyone knows those cartoons are now under license at Warner Bros. But you probably already know that. Anyway, I will say this is really something. There's even some other things besides the robots. There's a radio signal tower common for Sky Captain, which is a stylized version of the color RKO logo. The film was released after their successor RKO General sold off their TV station as a result of corporate misconduct. The giant robots heat rays were used. They used the same sound effects as the Martian flying machines from The War of the Worlds, released in 1953, which that's a film I still have yet to review. I definitely gotta review that film sometime. I will eventually. But anyway, nevertheless, I found this to be pretty good. And the Flying Legion is a homage to pulp magazine and comic book heroes such as G8 and his battle aces, Captain Midnight, and the Black Hawk Squadron. Which, those are, I'm afraid I'm not too familiar with, but I am going to say I really appreciate what this film had to offer. The film has Edward Shimmer doing the score, which was good. Of course, we do have a good cast. I liked Jude Law's performance as Joseph Sullivan, aka Sky Captain. I think he did just so good. This would actually be one of 3 films that Law did for Paramount, including along with the remake of Alfie and Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. It also was one of 6 overall Jude Law films released that year, as a matter of fact. Let's see. Gwyneth Paltrow plays Polly Perkins, and I'd say she was pretty good. Angelina Jolie played Commander Frankie Cook. I must say she was superb. This was just after she had done Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life, the previous year. But not too bad. But her role's kind of small, though. That's kind of a slight issue, though. Giovanni Ribisi plays Dex. I'm going to say he's pretty good. There's the late great Sir Michael Gambon as Mr. Paley. He's not too bad. And Julian Curry as Dr. Vargas. Trevor Baxter as Dr. Jennings. And wow, just so incredible. There's just so many performances in this. But so the cast isn't too bad, so you gotta give this film credit for that. So overall, Sky Captain in the World Tomorrow may not have been a big hit though, but I still think it is still a great cult classic in my book. So with everything said, the story is fine, why have you. The effects and other types of visual effects, they were absolutely superb, and its score's not too bad, the direction's not too bad, the cast is good. So would I recommend it? Well, I'd say I'd recommend you give this a one-time watch. See if you like it. And if you don't, then well, I can't say I didn't try. So check out Sky Captain in the World Tomorrow by giving it a one-time watch. If you've seen Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow, let me know what you thought about in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel. Make it grow and make the views grow. Tell all your friends about my channel. Share my vids with your friends, or maybe have them get to know me a little more. They may like my channel. And next time I'll be bringing to you a review of another film that's got an anniversary, and it'll be Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So if you like this, check out my reviews of some of these other films. I'll give you the first 2 Indiana Jones films, since they were from Paramount. In the upper right hand corner is my review of Raiders of the Lost Ark from 1981. The upper right hand corner is my review of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom from 1984. Or if you like maybe a different type of film, but does have an early kind of style feel to it, check out my review of The Mummy from 1999. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.